we're gonna start it off today, Easter, with Easter horror stories. Easter horror stories, you know what I mean? We're gonna. Whoa, we don't got a fucking. Three very scary, true Easter horror stories animated. It's very scary. We better watch out. Hold on, gotta turn that volume down. Started off good. Started off good here. Golly, that's loud. Oh my god! Oh my... Oh. Oh my god, that gives me like the chill. Ew! 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 Oh my god! What the fuck?
This happened on the night of Easter Sunday.
That's so ugly.
My brother and I had been...
Oh my god, that's like when you go through the mall and like go through a mall and you see the Easter bunny sitting there. Like the guy in the Easter bunny outfit, bro. It looks just so creepy. It looks so creepy. Oh my god, bro. What the fuck was that?
That's for a few years, living in an apartment about a 15-minute walk away from our parents. Every year, we would walk there to have dinner with our parents for Easter. Our apartment and our parents' house were separated by a fairly large park, but a trail went straight through it, which crossed under a bridge at about the halfway mark. It was early in the evening when my brother and I made our way through the park toward our parents. We weren't the only people out there, but it was becoming very empty. By the time we made it to the bridge, we hadn't seen anyone in a few minutes. That's when we started hearing something moving in the bushes.
Run. Turn and run.
We both stopped and looked all around, trying to see where the rustling was coming from.
Turn and run, bro.
We would get to see a raccoon or something crawling out of a bush, but we didn't find anything.
Imagine if we say the short person's name is who and the tall person's name is why. What? Who and why?
After a few seconds, we kept walking and passed under the bridge, and when we came out the other side, we heard a whistle. It sounded like it was...
I don't fuck with that. I hear too many horror stories to be messing around under a bridge at nighttime with whistling, bro. You ever seen those YouTube videos where the people are waiting for people to walk? The guys are waiting for people to walk by, and they're in like a clown outfit, and they smash like some like it's probably like a sack full of juice, but like they hit it with a hammer, and it looks like they're crushing. Oh my god, dude, that's horrible. If you ever watch those YouTube videos growing up, either you're a psycho or I just feel bad for you. I don't know, dude. You just stumbled upon them once.
Not a bird or anything. We just ignored it and kept walking, picking up the pace quite a bit to exit the park as soon as possible. We eventually made it to our parents' place a few minutes later, but by then, we were able to joke about how we'd gotten so spooked out by essentially nothing. We soon forgot about it as we had Easter dinner with our family and stayed for a few hours to catch up and hang out with everyone. Once it was starting to get late, people started to head home, so my brother and I followed suit. While saying our goodbyes, I talked with my
drive. Bro, if it's nighttime, bro, drive.
An Uber home and avoiding the walk through the pathway since it was late. He told me I was overreacting and convinced me that nothing would happen, and so we left the house and re-entered.
That is the shittiest brother ever. Oh my lord, would I like? Oh my lord, I'd punch someone, bro. I'd punch someone in the face. If I'm like, yo, this is creepy, I'm not going that way. And you're like, you're overreacting. Boom, motherfucker. I swear. Man, if anyone ever said that to me, I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind. In a real life scenario.
As we were walking, it was pitch black. There weren't any streetlights around, so we had to use the flashlights for...
Already just a no. Yo, if there's not a street light in the direction that you're going, you are going the wrong direction. If there's no working lights in your vicinity, you are not going the way that you should be going. You know? You should not be going that way. Why the fuck are you going that way? Oh my god, I have so much pent-up anger right now.
I never walked through the park this late at night, and had always found it relaxing and peaceful, but without light, the whole place was creepy as hell. I was about to say something to my brother about how we should have gotten a ride, but just at that moment, we heard something nearby.
No, bro.
It was the same rustling sounds we heard before, but in the darkness, so it felt twice as loud. A few seconds later, we heard the whistle again too.
Run back, bro.
A chill ran down my spine.
Run back, bro.
And
Run
I know
away.
My brother felt it too. That's
Run.
when we both started speed walking.
Best case scenario in this instance, it is a bunch of kids playing a prank on you. That is best case scenario, okay? Worst case scenario, it's a guy who wants to kill you.
Down the path, we knew we were almost halfway home when we saw the bridge, but we didn't slow down. We walked into the tunnel and hurried to the other side, making it out in half the time it usually took us. Getting out of there never felt so relieving. That is until we heard the whistle again.
You don't stop until you're home and inside. I wouldn't even go home at that point.
It sounded
nope.
like it was right behind us.
I would not go home at that point.
Shoulders at the same time and saw it. There stood a man standing at the other side of the tunnel. He was dressed as the Easter Bunny, but he was holding an axe. Something about the sight of him made us stop dead in our tracks. Frozen with fear, we looked at him, then at each other, then back at him, trying to make sense of it.
What's up with that guy? Maybe he works at the mall? Sure, because every...
Wait a minute.
To make sense of fear, we looked at something about the sight of his shoulders at the same time and saw it. There stood a man standing at the other side of the tunnel. He was dressed as the Easter Bunny, but he was holding an axe.
Ooh, I'm gonna get mad. Ooh, I'm gonna get mad. This guy is on a shitty track record right now. He has a really bad track record. Maybe he works at the mall or something. But he's holding an axe? Man, maybe he's a lumberjack. Maybe he chops down trees for a living.
Something about the sight of him made us stop dead in our tracks. Frozen with fear, we looked at him, then at each other, then back at him, trying to make sense of it.
What's up with that guy? Maybe he works at the mall? Sure, because every kid wants a picture with the Easter Bunny about to chop their head off. Oh, shit. Yo, let's get out of here. Ah, damn it, my ankle! Shit!
Of course, bro, you sprain your ankle at that moment.
Get up! Get up! I can't! Shit, he's running towards us! Stay away! Stay away! Help!
No way! Yo! Oh my god!
I didn't want to leave my brother behind, but I didn't have a choice. I had to get to safety and call for help. A choice. I had to get to safety.
That's what he gets, bro. That's what he gets for oh, nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen at all. My mic is not off. Stop trolling.
Call for help. When I made it out of the park, I called the police and then my parents. Minutes later, the police arrived and escorted me back to where we were attacked. By then, it was a nightmare. There was blood everywhere, and my brother's body had been completely destroyed, hacked to pieces and scattered across the pavement. All that, but no sign of the Bunny Man. There have been no arrests since it happened. It was labeled as an urban legend on the internet, but those people act like my brother wasn't murdered. They act like I don't still hear his screams every night, like I didn't listen to his voice getting further away as I ran while he was begging for his life.
His ass should have wanted a fucking Uber, maybe. Dog. My mic is not off. I'm slamming my desk and it's unpausing the video. I don't mean it. My mic is not off. My mic is not off. And I swear, man, it is not off. It is not off.
For this Easter, it was only fitting that we revisit the infamous Bunny Man Bridge urban legend. For those of you who haven't heard of the Bunny Man, he was a notorious killer that wore a white rabbit.
That's real? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Suit. And at the stroke of midnight, lore has it that if you speak his name 3 times, he'll appear. Bunny Man,
Dog.
Bunny Man, Bunny Man. But don't expect to survive. He'll slash your throat and leave your body dangling from the bridge. Another rendition of the Bunny Man was that he was a spirit of an escaped mental patient who haunts the railroad bridge, living in the woods near the bridge where he ate rabbits, taxidermy, that kind of thing, and wearing their skins like Leatherface, and leaving their remains hanging in the trees. There are plenty of versions of the Bunny Man Bridge legend, all equally eerie, making the 1-lane tunnel of Colchester Road such a popular
Who that is that Bunny Man?
that police stake it out every year, chasing off trespassers searching for a scare. The Bunny Man Bridge was featured in the Fox documentary, Scariest Places on Earth, and has been mentioned countless times across the internet.
Dude, no, man. I hope that's just a legend, bro. Alright, check the Discord. Dog,
Sign of the
ew.
Bunny Man. Been no arrests since it happened. It was labeled as an urban legend on the
I wasn't talking, motherfucker. I wasn't fucking talking. It's not because my mic was muted. Do you see my lips moving? I don't. My mic is on. Stop fucking with me. I'm gonna. Most disturbing Easter dinner. I'm not gonna punch this monitor because I really
My
like
wife
this
and I
monitor.
had 3 sons, and they had plenty of cousins, aunts, and uncles to grow up around. Our house was the biggest in the family.
If
so
I had
everyone
money,
came
I
over
would
whenever
for
we
funny,
hosted a
for
holiday like
funny clips, you know what I mean?
New Year's, or a birthday party. So when it was Easter Sunday, we invited
Yeah, what's up?
everyone over for dinner. It was always a good time, but there was one person in the mix that I didn't want to be in the mix. It was my brother. His name was Robert, and he had always been an outcast in the family.
I
He
hate
was
guys
a
named
weirdo
Robert.
when we were
Just
growing
kidding.
up, and it only got worse
just
as
kidding.
the years went by. He dropped out of school and was never capable of being
Yo, if your name's Robert, just don't talk to me, bro. Just don't talk to me, man. Robert. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
single, so he just went from job to job his whole life, never finding his footing in anything. About 5 years ago, his luck finally ran out. He was
Bro.
broken in debt, with no job, no car, and no place to live. Being the caring brother I am, I didn't hesitate to let him stay with us when he asked for help. The only thing Robert seemed to be good at was scaring my kids with his creepy behavior and leeching off me and my wife. For the most part, all he did was
Oh, and then you try to kick him out. And then you try to kick him out. And then it's like a leech, bro. And then it's like, oh, you just can't get it off of you, bro.
sleep in his room all day, watching TV with the door locked and only coming out when he absolutely needed to. I just didn't want my brother to be homeless, but everyone,
Some people gotta be homeless, bro.
and I mean everyone,
Sometimes it gotta
wanted
happen.
me to kick him out. My wife was pissed at both of us. My kids were begging me to get rid of the creepy man sleeping in the room next to them. And even my relatives were baffled by my inaction.
Check the Discord. Dog, it's gonna be... What is this? I never want to see that shit again. Fuck, send that shit again. I'm gonna be mad.
Action. The few times that Robert tried to hang out with us, it was unbearably awkward. His interests were all macabre, graphic stuff I didn't want my kids to be exposed to, so I often shut down his attempts at conversation. All in all, Robert's life was a shit show. When Easter came around, we were hosting.
That's kind of
as
sad,
usual,
though.
with me, my wife, our kids, and all the relatives. There were close to 20 people attending the celebration for Easter Sunday. Everything was good for a while. We painted eggs, did the traditional egg hunt, and got everyone to sit in the living room and watch a movie together. For hours, there was no sign of Robert. My wife and her sister started getting dinner ready.
Robert.
When they heard a loud thump coming from upstairs. It sounded like Robert had stepped out of his room swinging the door.
I thought I heard
open.
something in my room.
That's when he came downstairs and asked for a glass of water. As I began to pour Robert a glass, he leaned down to my son and started talking to him in a low voice. My wife snapped at me to go stop him, so I quickly got between them and sent Robert back upstairs.
Wait, what happened? I'm sorry. I was getting creeped out.
Glass. He leaned down to my son and started talking to him in a low voice. My wife snapped at me to go stop him, so I quickly got between them and sent Robert back upstairs as kindly as I could. The guy then gave me a death stare from hell, and then marched up the stairs like
Isn't
a
he your
demented
brother?
12-year-old would, except he was in his 40s. About 2 hours later, all the food was ready, and we got all the guests to sit at the table. Everyone was talking excitedly about how good the food was.
Guys,
This is
I
the
know you all
final
wanna
time.
eat.
This is the final time I'm checking the Discord. I got, yeah, that's actually for. That's. I actually like that guy.
So it's time to say grace, okay?
Time to say grace.
Now?
I can probably just fix him a plate. Hey, buddy, we didn't forget about you. Just
So we were
thought
saying
you
grace.
Wouldn't want to come down. Robert, what are you doing with that? No, no, no!
It was so unreal. I walked among the remains of my family for hours, looking into their paralyzed faces, watching their blood pool together and seep through the floorboards, smelling their final emissions, like the breath of death itself was on my cheek. I knew it was wrong. I knew it was a monstrous thing to do. Yet, some people go their whole lives without accomplishing anything. I knew half the people I took out were just like that. Unimportant, unmemorable, doomed to be forgotten by history. I was going to be one of them too, but I changed that. It's not that I enjoyed it.
Oh my
It
God.
wasn't like scratching an itch. It was more like flipping that light switch off and on 3 times just so you can stop thinking about it. I only felt hollow relief, but I couldn't go for another second without it. Still, I wasn't going to be a coward and try to avoid the.
Now it's the voice
consequences
of
my
this guy? He typed in 311,
You've
not
reached
911.
emergency services. Please.
Listen to me. I am at 635 Minor Avenue. My family was having their Easter dinner, and I did something bad. Something very, very bad.
Sir, what did you do? Sir? Sir? Hello, sir?
I walked outside and waited for the police on the porch. I wanted to get one last breath of free air before they put me away forever. It took the police 10 precious minutes to arrive.
They're not gonna put you away, bro. They're gonna kill you.
I've never seen the outside world. This
Good.
story was inspired by a horrific incident that occurred on Easter Sunday. A 41-year-old man named James Rupert took out 11 members of his own family in his mother's house in Ohio. Rupert was found guilty.
Only in Ohio.
And received 2 life sentences
I'm sorry.
to be served consecutively.
2
He was
life
moved to
sentences.
Franklin Medical Center in Columbus, Ohio
Only 2 life sentences.
in 2000.
He killed his entire family, and he only got so much as 2 life sentences. A life sentence is 25 years. If I am correct. A life sentence is 25 years, and he only got 50 years.
19. Because of his declining health, James eventually passed away from natural causes on June 4th of 2022 while incarcerated at the Franklin
Good.
Medical Center. Rupert was 88 at the time. The night before the murders, James went out as he did nearly every night. At a cocktail lounge, he talked with an employee saying he was frustrated with his mother's demands on him and his impending eviction, and that he quote-unquote needed to solve the problem. According to Bishop, Rupert stated that his mother had complained that if he could afford to buy beer 7 nights a week, he could afford to pay the rent.
But is she wrong? If you could afford to drink 7 nights a week, you could pay rent once a month. Is he wrong? Is she wrong? Spooky. What the fuck? Dude, you gotta stop doing this shit, man. You gotta stop doing this shit, bro. Hold up. That's good. That's so good. Just so it's more high quality. What the fuck are you watching? It's a great question to ask.
This happened
I don't
around
know.
Easter,
Watching
still
Easter horror
traumatizes me
stories,
till
though.
this day. I used to do community work at this old church a few years ago. It was more than just a place of worship. It was my home. I grew up in a very religious family where Sunday Mass was non-negotiable. Holidays were all-day affairs, and praying was an everyday thing. I knew everyone in the church, from the nuns to the choirs, the priest, Father Michael, and a lot of regulars that came to pray. We were basically a tight-knit community, which I would consider my family to some degree. Then, things began to change. One of the nuns who we'll call Sister Agnes started to look off, like
Sister
more gaunt and
Agnes.
pale than usual.
Sister Agnes?
Yes.
Is everything okay?
Yes. Everything.
Sister
is
Agnes,
just
dog, what's going
fine.
on?
No problems at all. What a lovely day it is, right?
Yeah.
That is just not normal. If any human came up to me, started talking like that, I'm walking the other direction.
It is a lovely day.
The week leading up to Easter was a whirlwind. We were all working overtime, getting the church ready for the big day. I was helping clean the restrooms, and Sister Agnes was looking particularly frail. The priest, Father Michael, was with her.
There's restrooms in a church? I'm sorry, I haven't been to church, like, in a very long time. The churches have restrooms? Is that a dumb question? That's probably a dumb
So I
question.
didn't worry too much as he was looking after her.
I
That
don't
was
wanna
how
talk
it was
about-
for the next few days. And before I knew it, it was...
Is it me? Is it me? That's good.
Easter Sunday.
I love that.
However,
I love that.
It wasn't at all what I expected. What was supposed to be a big celebration.
Did I show it? I forgot if I showed it. I should. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad
became
idea.
Nightmare. When I made my way to the church for the mass, I saw nothing but police cars everywhere. The church was cordoned off. No mass, just the cops and that awful sinking feeling in my stomach. Then, the news broke. Sister Agnes had been taken out. She was allegedly punctured about 30 times, with an inverted cross carved into her chest. At first, I couldn't believe it. It was something out of a horror movie. Far from the peaceful church I had always adored, I broke down, sobbing and shaking. How could this happen? Who could do something so evil? The whole neighborhood was in shock. Everyone was whispering about how it could have been a cult or something that did this to her. But over time, there were no leads or suspects. It became a cold case, and everyone just went back to living their normal lives. But I was still terrified. I couldn't even walk past the church without getting nervous.
Yeah, I wouldn't
So,
step
I
foot
started
in that
going
near
to a
that
different
church, bro.
just to feel safe. It
Yeah,
took
good.
me 3 years before I could even think about going back there, but eventually I did. But it wasn't the same. Something about the whole situation just didn't sit right with me. During one night after Mass, I stayed to catch up with Father Michael. I waited for him to complete his churchly obligations, and when everyone else had left the church, it was just me and Father Michael. We started catching up.
W.
recalling
Father
the good
Michael.
old days, stuff like that. I know that it should have been comforting for me, but for reasons I couldn't explain, something was off. What happened next caught me off guard. One moment, we were sitting down and socializing, and the next, he suddenly lunged at me, bear hugging me like a wild animal, while cackling like a lunatic.
Oh, let go of
I
me!
screamed as hard as I could, hoping someone could hear me and come to my aid. Shut up! Shut up! Shut the hell up or you're gonna end up like her! I couldn't believe what I was hearing or what was happening. All I could do was fight back like a cornered animal. But I couldn't do much as he was much stronger than me.
Yo, imagine, got full mount, right? Right? Boom, 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 boom. Yo. That's great. That would be sick. Redo the oil. No.
He pinned me to the ground and held me there. All I could do was kick
Oh,
and
wait, no. This time, smile and try to do it as best as you can.
scream and try to fight the
Alright,
freak
after
off.
this video, I
was
will.
basically in survival mode. After several minutes, I managed to
Can you watch my house walkthrough after this? Alright.
break free. Getting away from him, I ran like my life depended on it. He was chasing after me, pleading for me to stop like a lunatic. I felt like a trapped animal waiting to be slaughtered. I ran for the front door of the church, not knowing the caretaker already had it locked. But before Father Michael could catch up to me, I ran to the side hallway and was able to find an exit. I got the hell out of there and ran until I arrived home. I locked all the doors and windows, sobbing and shaking. I called the police, telling them everything that had happened. When they
Acted like a zebra for a second.
arrived at the church, they immediately arrested him and brought him to jail.
Gotta
And
stop going to church after that. What you mean nasty? I'm not nasty. Do you have 2 or 3 monitors? I have 3
That's when the
monitors.
horrible truth came out. The news reports and police investigations pushed the authorities to reopen the case of Sister Agnes. It was later found out that Father Michael had been hearing voices in his head, and that they were allegedly too impossible for him to ignore,
Bro,
causing him
schizo.
to act in a rage and take her out in a twisted, ritualistic way. He took a knife and did what he did 30 times. When authorities asked him why he pierced an inverted cross on her, he said he did it because he wanted to make it seem as if there was a satanic ritual that took place, so that there was no heat on him. But all along, it was him. He'd been hiding in plain sight.
That's
Poor
crazy.
Sister Agnes, she didn't stand
That's
a chance.
crazy.
This story was inspired
That is
by a horrific
insane.
Easter incident that happened on Holy Saturday in Ohio and involved a nun and a priest. In April 1980, Sister Margaret Ann Paul was found in the chapel of Toledo Mercy Hospital. She had been pierced by a sharp object over 30 times, including 9 wounds in the form of an inverted cross, and
Oh my
covered with an
God.
altar cloth. The scene was made to look like a
Insane.
satanic ritual that had taken place.
That is
It took 2
fucking
decades for the
crazy.
slaying to be solved, in which time the case went cold and was only reopened after a woman accused a priest of ritual.
Nah,
infinite
see,
torment.
so here, I'll explain after
That
this video.
priest/culprit was Father Gerald Robinson, the same priest who had conducted Margaret's funeral service. He was finally arrested in 2006 and sentenced to life in prison, where he later passed in 2014.
That is creepy, dog. What the fuck? This is so messed up. All of this is so messed up. Oh. What the hell?